Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caroline. Welcome to the Experience Creators. Today we're doing something a little bit different. As you know, if you've watched one or a couple of the interviews so far, you know that I always ask one question that is the same, and that is, what elements make up an incredible experience? And because my guests are experts in completely different fields, their answers are always highly unique. However, in and amongst all of their comments are some commonalities that thread and link all of their answers together and really allow us to have a vision of what we can do to create an incredible experience for those around us, for our guests, for our customers, for our community. So this episode, we are going to check out all the answers from my previous guests to that one main question: what elements make up an incredible experience? So let's go.
So look, I think experiences, and there's always experiences that we remember. And why do we remember them? Because they gave us a certain feeling. Okay. Now I call this the feeling of elevation. Okay. And the feeling of elevation, whenever you're in an experience, is about, can you get somebody to leave? Can you leave them better than you found them? Right? Can you give somebody a chance to put an extra smile on their face? Can you give them an experience that they're going to remember? Can you give them something that's going to associate with something positive? And when you can do that in your experience, whether it's one-on-one with somebody, whether it's in a big group, whether it's a traditional experience such as an event or going to a basketball game, how can you leave that person feeling like they have had a great time with the people around them, right? So environment, the emotions that you bring out, the entertainment value, all of these things about really making sure that you develop a connection with each individual that comes through your experience in any way, shape, or form.
When I go to an event, I want to feel so present in the moment, and I'm so disconnected from my phone, and I want to be so in the moment. So whatever an event for me, the most incredible experience is coming somewhere where I feel body, mind, soul, the whole experience I feel is encapsulating me. And I'm like, I'm taken to another place, or I am elevated, or I'm learning something, or I'm connecting with new people. That for me is always the greatest joy, like going to somewhere where you feel disconnected from your phone, your thoughts, and you're so present in this moment of like pleasure and joy, or whatever that is being created around you. And I think something that you're left with as well, an experience where I actually feel inspired, I feel educated, or I've had fun. That's for me, it's kind of, if I'm a great event that I'm either putting on or I'm attending, that's kind of what I want people to be left with.
It's very interesting that you're looking at personal branding as experience. It's a very unique way of looking at it. But if I think of experience and the core components of what, a really wow experience is to me, I think it does correlate quite strongly with the core pillars of a strong standout personal brand, which are, if you want to have a strong personal brand, you want to be memorable, you want your personal brand to be meaningful, and you want it to be relevant or relatable. And I would say, to me, it's very similar. If I'm thinking of those, incredible experiences that I've had in my life, they're incredible because they were memorable, meaningful, and relevant to me. So I'm seeing quite a bit of correlation. Those would be my pillars.
Okay, so yeah, that is not only a good question, but probably also like a quite difficult one to really think about. But basically, if I look at it from my area of quote unquote expertise, I think one of the things that's really remarkable about experience when we talk to people about like how to build experiences is that it's just so many facets. There's so many things that have to come together to create that experience. And in the workplace, which is obviously what I really focus on, it really is a lot of things that you don't even realize, or that you don't even they're not tangible. So for a great workplace to deliver a great experience, it's not only sort of the first things that you see, it's really kind of like the air that you breathe in, the scent that sort of surrounds you, the music that's playing, the general kind of like amount of noise from like people chatting, maybe like some dishware from the cafe in the background, the kind of greenery around you, the amount of light, is it natural light, is it artificial light? So really all those things together kind of create that sense of like, oh, this is where I am, and whether that's like a positive experience or a negative one. So I would say like what defines an experience, I would say complexity, because it's a lot of different things that go into it. Yeah.
I love that. And especially thinking about elements that you wouldn't usually think about, right? And I know when I'm working with my clients, I ask so many thought-provoking questions, like how do you want your guests to feel? You know, how do you want the experience to impact them? And oftentimes it's things that they haven't even thought about yet. So I love that idea of like that idea of complexity. Like how can we actually think of so many other things around us that we've never really thought of before, or that we didn't realize actually had an impact on us.
Well, there's so many elements that go into an experience that I think that a lot of people actually take for granted or don't even realize, because so much of the experience is actually in the detail. So for us with, you know, Pangea Dreams, it was from the moment someone arrived being greeted with a hug. You know, being welcomed with like such warm energy was really important, because that also like set the tone for the rest of the week and how everyone shows up, you know? So as an experience designer, I think it's really important to think about those small elements that when compounded make the entire experience, and not to take those for granted. For me, it's really like the attention is in the detail. You know, even on the retreats, we have these like little bracelets that we give. And so everyone's kind of connected through a shared experience through a bracelet. Every morning we do gratitude. And so there's so many of these like small practices, again, that like amount to a full experience that makes something unforgettable and life-changing.
I think a couple things, and you know, some are going to be obvious when it comes to creating that memorable experience. But I think one, it has to be connected with other individuals within, and certainly it depends on the context, but this could be the case physically, virtually, digitally, within any channel, within any setting. There has to be some sort of connection with some sort of community, whether that is B2B, whether that's more B2C, or if that's friends, that's family, that's colleagues. So when it comes to creating that experience, I think that's like, you know, foundational. And then I think the second thing, especially for younger audience members, is it has to be shareable. And this is something we see quite often, especially in what we do as an agency, helping brands reach Gen Z consumers. If it isn't able to be shared, then it limits the potential exposure and almost like second wave gratification that stems from things. And certainly we could cite a lot of examples of younger generations almost going through experiences just for the sharing that's going to happen following that experience. So but I think those are my two biggest things is going to be community / connection, and then the second is going to be sharing.
So I love this topic. As you know, we've had a lot of conversation about it, and I really respect your work in this area. You are such an expert here. So it's fun to have these conversations with you. I think that for me, when I think about experience, especially in the workplace, right, comes down to community. Everybody wants to belong to something somewhere. So when you think of like really great sports teams, or, you know, like experiential things for people, they are a fan of whatever that is. They've got merchandise, they've got the colors, they've got, you know, maybe whatever that brand or that symbol, they've got so many things that they can hold on to that are super tangible, and it creates a feeling within them. And honestly, I feel like that's something that I've been focused on so much in my career when looking at the workplace, is how do we create something that makes these just like crazy fans out of our clients and out of our employees. And, you know, I think there's just so much to be learned from these other industries in how they create an experience for their fans.
I think that even like understanding what an experience is today, we have to kind of look at it from like a lens of, you know, I think oftentimes, and probably your audience, when we hear the word experience, we all have like something, right? There's something we probably picture or visualize. And it for me, like, you know, sometimes when I think of it as the little moments with my daughters when I have like that, like, we were setting up the Christmas tree the other day, and like just like that like experience of like you feel you feel you're a part of something, you feel like a connection, but you also feel something that's special and unique. And then when we think about that, in business and our current life, especially with COVID, I think experiences can be something small as well as something large, right? Something from an event that you go to and it's an epic experience, to even maybe just a phone call that you had that really connected. So I think for me, when I think about experiences, I think about that connection is probably the thing that probably stands out the most to me. It's like our connection to the moment, our connection to the person, our connection to the people around us. Maybe it's even just our connection, to, and this will kind of be a little bit off base, but I'm a Taylor Swift fan, a big Taylor Swift fan, and her new album came out last night at midnight. And so when I woke up this morning, I put it on, and it's funny because her album came out earlier this year, and it was just like, I thought like the perfect, I remembered the experience I had. Like it hit the third song of her album back in March, and I was like, wow, like it was an amazing experience. And so like that to me, it's kind of neat that we can encompass experiences in many different ways.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, especially when you're looking at how can we create impact for somebody, whether it's one person, whether it's, you speak in front of crazy large audiences. So can we impact one person in a positive way? Me, I worked for Cirque du Soleil for a very long time, and they are experts at creating impactful moments and magical moments. And a lot of the work that I'm doing right now, it's like, how can we bring that magic and that meaningfulness back into experiences? So I love that. And especially even you saying like with your daughters, that you have so many moments that just connect immediately to an emotion, right? And then
Right.
that elicits kind of imagination of before, maybe probably when they were younger, when they were born, even before they were born. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Experience Creators. If you liked the video, if you found it valuable, inspiring, and you now have some new tools at your disposal to help bring the experience that you offer to life, make sure to like the video down below. Also, make sure that you subscribe and turn on your post notifications so that you are made aware the next time an expert graces the Experience Creator stage. Don't forget, everyone, that one great experience has the potential to change someone's world.